Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing fine. Today I would like to talk a bit about pornography, porn addiction, and its psychological impact on people, how we can understand the behavior, and so on. You might have heard that many people, including young adolescents, watch porn or struggle with porn addiction or porn-related issues. If you are the one who has this problem and would like to provide yourself with a better understanding about it or find a solution for it, and that is why you came across this video, I would say that it is great. You have already gone half of the way, because identifying the problem, being curious about it, and so trying to increase your insight about the roots of your problem is arguably the first and perhaps most important part of healing and construction process. We know that porno has pervasively been a major part of media in the recent decades. Normally, everything which has such a powerful, spreading character will influence societal and cultural norms, our psychological conditions, our functions, and also the development process of people, especially when it comes to adolescents and younger people. Sometimes for parents it may just feel like it is not controllable. Porn is available everywhere and also affordable online and very easy to access, for their teens. This may cause feelings of frustration and powerlessness for them. So there is still questions and perhaps misconceptions about porn use, and what young people need to know, and also that how parents and teachers should tackle this topic. I believe that this is a topic which is very important because the way we respond to it is a culminating result of interaction of multiple factors, such as emotional factors, cultural, familial, and psychological factors. Someone reacts immediately with excitement and positivity, and another one may talk about it with repulsion and hate. Therefore, I assume that we cannot exclusively look at pornography in and of itself when investigating and studying the effects of it. Rather, we have to stick to a co-influence model by which a variety of factors are taken into consideration. Such factors can include your background, your personality traits, age, your view about relationships, attitudes about sex and women, how often you watch and what kind of content you're watching, and so on. So it is the constellation of several factors that can determine the risk of adverse consequences, not only just consumption per se. For example, if you are very young and psychologically vulnerable, have a very scarce amount of knowledge about sexuality and relationship in general, or come from a very conservative or religious family background or societal context, and you are watching regularly, you are probably at higher risk compared to an older user who have watched porn occasionally, perhaps used it as an entertainment means, and have always had an open-minded approach about sexuality and discovering sexual identity. So this is the reason we see discrepancies in research results about investigation of effects of porn on psychological health. But what really happens over time, and which mechanisms are involved in people that make them keep it up and liking it and continue with that? Well, we know that from birth to death, our philosophical mind's biggest assignment is to protect us by avoiding pain and seeking joy and pleasure. Such a process is practiced by continuous actions of reinforcement and, through rewarding and predictions. So this is about the circle of activities and processes by which the organism maintains inner balance and move forward. But it will also expose us to the risk of conditioning to superficial or, immediate situations which are experienced as pleasant or satisfactory. So it means that those areas or behaviors or situations which are potentially very pleasant and rewarding, or give us an immediate excitement and relief, will become very important, in the sense that our brains, and nervous system tend strongly to revisit and repeat them over and over. So everything that is overused as a strategy and mechanisms, gets most probably problematic, because it is a sign of an unbalanced energy budget use in the system, as it entails polarization of mental energy. As a consequence, we will miss the opportunity to develop a deeper sense of psychological health, because our inner world's activities and energy are polarized and unbalanced. So you can say that addiction to pornography rewire the pleasure centers and dysregulate your brain. So again, it is about habits and getting accustomed to dopamine and adrenaline. This can partially explain why people find it very difficult to stop it. The same holds true for other habits like smoking or drinking. Many people do want to stop it, but they cannot, because they have developed some kind of dependency and addiction. So you can say that it is about desensitization of midbrain, as a person needs a higher level of extreme content in order to achieve the same pleasure as before. So this has also been linked to a higher risk of sexual violence and objectification of others, especially younger people. So we cannot deny the fact that it will also make up, unrealistic expectations and perceptions about body and sexual performance, and also it will affect, viewpoints and perspectives about women and gender roles and so on. Many people will experience problems with, getting aroused in real sexual relationship with their partner, and in general they will struggle with sexual dysfunction and also with less confidence about their sexual abilities. So since the problem is happening at a chemical level in the brain, the medicines, for example those with erection increasing effect, will not work. So I don't think that the problem is that people with porn-related problems do not find their partner sexy or beautiful. It is more like that the dopamine rush following sexual contact with a real partner is not comparable with the one their brain is accustomed to, and does not happen in an it does not just happen in an adequate level which can maintain arousal. So it's about addiction effect. But some researchers have also argued that the direction might be the other way, in a sense that perhaps those men of less sexual confidence has turned to porn, or generally tend to use it more frequently compared to others. And some studies have also mentioned the idea that porn delivers a quick, effortless shortcut to pleasure. So it is in some way an escape mechanism by which people will acquire an illusion of control, controlling over their joy and excitement and pleasure, and in contrast to the real life relation and interpersonal communication. So they do not need to put energy and effort and invest into that. So pornography has also been regarded as a means to, stress relief and tackling stress for some people. So again, it can be understood as avoidance strategy. But I believe that one of the most adverse consequences is about, psychological disconnection and disassociation from our surroundings and people who we really care about and love. Many of these people may suddenly find themselves in an inconvenient situations and difficult relational settings, or alone or very vulnerable. They might feel that they have not understood what suddenly happened in their relationship, that they just disappeared in the bubble of disassociation and disconnection during all those days of tension and isolation, and that they have been becoming detached from a stranger for their own family members, including their partners. So a crucial element which has been highlighted by research findings is the notion of moral conflicts caused by pornography addiction. Although it is, far more accepted in societies and a less taboo theme than before, but still porn and everything around it, everything that has something to do with sexuality and sexual activities, is considered as a difficult and reprehensible subject for many people, for many families, particularly those who come from a conservative and religious, familial and societal context. So even if the individual consciously distance himself from such criteria and values, they will still influence his mind and the way he considers himself as a person, because humans' needs for sense of belonging and connection is essential for living and for growing and for functioning. And if you belong to such a context where pornography is seen as a taboo or a forbidden thing, it will not be strange if you feel ashamed or feel regret after watching porn. It is like living a double moral world consisting of double standards and insecurity. This is about cognitive dissonance and inner anxiety. Cognitive dissonance as a phenomenon happens when you keep sticking to contradicting values and conflicting beliefs and attitudes, or when you relate to something that has a double form for existence. For example, in this case, you continue to watch porn, although deep inside you and your family dispraise and criticize the action, and you will not accept, for example, if your children want to do that, because you truly believe that it is harmful or it is bad. So I would like to note that cognitive dissonance can also happen in another level as well. As a simple example, I can say that having, for example, video meetings and sessions can at some point create some sorts of cognitive dissonance for our nervous system, because our brain is constantly relating to people by talking and tracking the connections between you and the other person, but this connection is guided through a screen. It is not physically real, although it is real. So I remember that during COVID time, I got easily tired of working online and conducting video therapy sessions. I felt tired and got brain fog and dizziness in my head, and it was difficult to concentrate as well. So I assume that this was about dissonance, which my body and brain were experiencing constantly. So cognitive dissonance and the gap caused by the conflicting powers will create discomfort and anxiety. So pornography will create such a dilemma where on the one hand the person considers it as a normal part of his life, and on the other hand it contradicts actually with the imposed values from the family and from the culture. So feelings of guilt and shame and all ethical implications pertinent to it will be very common. So it is a well-documented fact that porn addiction is associated with psychological rewiring and outcomes. Anxiety, depression, social detachment, and low sense of self-esteem are very common psychological outcomes of overuse of pornography. So you may claim that this is just for the sake of entertainment and fun, but at the same time you may acknowledge that it has influenced your romantic relationship with your partner. Therefore, in addition to the fact that this habit will ruin your time and days, it will also impact your relationship with your partner, like other types of addictive behaviors, because it is accompanied by, shame and unpleasant feelings and secrecy. So for many partners, it feels like they are, left feeling lonely and not prioritized, even if they might not know that their partner is occupied with porn. They will notice that something is wrong and they are not seen and treated well by their partners. So it is important to talk about it actually, and not to escape communicating your needs with your partner. Porn addiction creates unbalance and inequality in your relationship, and this is dangerous for your relationship and interpersonal relational quality. Therefore, the way you and your partner try to resolve such an inequality by addressing it and making attempt to know each other and be honest about your emotional issues leading you to porn is a determining factor for recovery and for growth and for self-development. So otherwise the risk of risk for coming into negative loops of things where you will criticize and distance from each other will be high, and that's harmful for your relationship. So when it comes to etiology and the causes, it can go both ways. I mean, we don't know if relationship issues result in porn problems or porn will cause relationship problems, or both of them. But it is perhaps more reasonable to think that it is, other underlying problems, mostly unconscious problems, that lead people to choose porn use as a channel or strategy for regulating the discomfort and the unpleasant emotions they feel from a trauma from previous time. And this is the most favorite hypothesis, at least for me. As I have already mentioned, unconscious and buried psychological issues and emotions make the mind to use defense mechanisms or avoidance strategies to protect us from these unpleasant emotions. So I consider psychotherapy as a very good option to understand the underpinnings and the roots of the problem. First of all, like other problems, you have to acknowledge it and be motivated to do something with it. And then it is also important to figure out which triggers you have. Some people may say that loneliness and feeling of not belonging to somewhere or a group of people or to their family will trigger this behavior. Some other may say that feeling of being bored may trigger that. So they need to distract themselves and kill the time a little, to function. Another person may say, that stress or even unpleasant feelings related to a difficult past or trauma is a trigger. And since our need to porn as pleasure and excitement source is something that heavily intertwined with our psychology and emotional world, it is so important to understand it and get help to come out of the loop. I hope that you have found these reflections interesting and useful. Please keep in touch, ask your questions here in the comment section, and please tell me which topics you would like to know about, and so I can try my best to make it and to talk about that topic that you have chosen. Thank you very much. Take care. We'll connect again with another video soon. Thank you. Bye.